Are those
Yes.
New Year's Eve glasses or are those elf glasses?
No, they're Christmas.
Oh, there we go. Christmas wreaths. Excellent.
I didn't want to be outdone by your necklace.
Yeah, right. All right, we've got, let's see, 27 in here right now, 6:31. I'm concerned about your time, so I want to be prompt. Some people will join in, but what we will do is we will go through our opening. And does anybody want to volunteer to say the Pledge of Allegiance, or we have an elf out there that might like to do that?
I'll do it.
All right, hold on a second. Let me get my, there we go. Scout sign.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that very much. That is why we do this, for the betterment of our country and getting these scouts to grow up and be great leaders based on the skills that they learned early in life. And that's us right now. So, all right. This is what our kind of opening is there, starting out with the safe scouting. And we're going to go into some highlights with the events, talking about Klondike. And then our breakout room is actually going to be a combination. So we really are not breaking out this time because scout transition concerns all of us. So that's what we're going to do. So with that being said, our roundtable in January, obviously we get some reminders about this, but it's on the 11th of January. And I noticed that I have that as 2020. So I guess I want to get rid of 2020. But that is really 2021. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It's amazing that this year has gotten to where it has so quickly with all the stuff that obviously each and every family has dealt with. And so thanks for what you're doing for the scouting movement, keeping it moving forward as best we can.
I looked, it's not there.
Quite a challenge to do scouting, as we found out, when we cannot meet in person. And so those groups that are meeting, and we're meeting in person, and now our garage meetings or virtual meetings, whatever you're doing to keep it moving forward at the pack or the cub and the troop level, thank you for what you're doing. So we are, we're going to move on here pretty quickly. Mr. Pucel has a meeting to get to at 7 at the council level, same Zoom, just at 7 o'clock. He's on a committee at that level. So we're going to start him off, and he's going to talk about Klondike and kind of how that's been morphing a little bit. And when I say morphing, I'll let him talk about that. But basically, we've kind of went from a date for Klondike in January to pushing it back to February because of some of the stuff going on. And so we're going to let him talk and give us the latest updates and tell you what we've got. So Jeff, if you want to take over, I've got your slide up there. And if you go from there and let me know.
Okay. Thank you, John. Thanks for doing this, and Merry Christmas to everybody. We've been meeting for a couple months now as part of the COVID task force at the council level. This group consists of a couple people from council. Wally Smith is one of them. And all of the district Klondike heads from around council. And we've been talking, and it's been kind of a real fluid situation. We're watching things closely. Everybody wants this event to happen. We all completely and wholeheartedly understand how big this event is, what a great recruitment tool this is for Webelos crossing over. We all understand that, and we want to do something, anything, to make this happen. But as we all know, we're running into a lot of obstacles. We saw a spike in the numbers after the Thanksgiving holiday, and we're expecting another spike after the Christmas holiday. which prompted us to kind of take January off the table. So if we're going to do any kind of a Klondike, we're going to have to move everything into February and even early March if we want to get this done. Again, we want to make something happen. The only district that's really come up with a concrete plan, a program, a list of events and a schedule is Aurora. And I had that sent out to everybody to look over. They have a lot of interest. They have a lot of volunteer base there. I don't know if they'll be able to pull that off or not, but it's one of the ideas that's out there. In our district, what we've come up with is Klondike in a box, where we would limit the interaction between troops, just give everybody a plan to run, whether it be some type of race, a list of events where you could do at one of the council camps on your own, report the results back to us, and everybody gets a patch, whether it be a little patch with the COVID symbol on there or something. We want to keep it fun too, as well. I sent the email out looking for some responses, some input from around our district. I've had several people respond to it. A lot of it hinges on if you want to do anything. If the troops are planning on participating. I've had several troops respond that they wanted to do something on their own, which is fine. They could incorporate the Klondike in a box if they want to do that. So we're looking for input. We're looking for ideas. As of right now, we're postponing everything until February. But we're going to discuss some more options, see what other ideas some other councils have tonight. At 7:00, we have that meeting. I'll be bugging out and going to that meeting. And of course, I'll keep everybody updated on where we're at. So.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Jeff. And because of, what's going on, any other, people out there right now, leaders, do you have any questions right now? I know I've heard of individual troops doing something and having their own type of Klondike Day. So that is an option for you, but this is something we're trying to pull together that at least we can have the possibility of an event per se. So anybody else have any other feedback on that? Any other leaders out there? And we know this is important because it's such a feeder thing for the troops. This is our biggest, this and fall campery are the big things for getting our Weeblos into scouting. And,
Yeah, I got a question.
yes, Steve.
Jeff, if they are gonna do a troop like day thing to do the Klondike stuff, let's say at IMR,
Mhm.
how many troops would be allowed to do that in a day or a weekend?
Jeffrey?
They're anticipating the numbers are going to be much lower than they have in the past. I guess we would accept as many as we could, but we have to respect those social distancing rules and keep everybody separated.
Yeah. Yeah. So
John, we
mean,
lost the
that's
PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
We see your
sorry about
background.
that. Yeah. I'll jump back there in a second here. That was my fault. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, does it answer your question there? Doing a Klondike in a box could be your own unit, obviously, in a park close to home, not necessarily at IMR. So, any other feedback on that? All right, Jeffrey, you can listen in if you want. He'll keep us posted. He's got his meeting tonight, which may or may not hear some different news. If he does, what we'll send out with a follow-up with the PDF of the PowerPoint here and all some of the notes we took what we'll send out is maybe an update from him to watch that too, to see if they're changing the position. So Jeff, if
and-
you would,
I guess all I can ask of the district heads right now, the people running your Klondike contact people, is please email me or call me with any questions or ideas or anything you might have, and I can take it to these meetings.
right,
We're looking for any ideas, what you might want to do. And most importantly, if you want to do anything,
mhm,
if we only have 1 or 2 troops interested in this event, then, obviously we can't do much, but if we have a large amount of people who want something to happen, we're going to make something happen.
correct. No, that sounds good. Sounds good. Jeffrey, just say your email out loud and I'll put it in the chat.
My email is puceljj@ameritech.net.
All right. We'll get that into the chat, so that's there. If anybody's on the group, emails for that come from Nathan, his name might be in there, but we'll make sure it's in the chat for him. Everyone's benefit on that, so. All right, thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate it. Move on to the next one. This is never can be highlighted enough. Safe scouting, it's safer than ever before. The way that they're set up now with our youth protection and the rules we have in place. We know that the lawsuit is going on, but we know that at our level, we're safe. We're doing everything we can to make it the best environment for the boys and the girls involved in the Scouts BSA program. And we know that for a fact in this district. So just keep that in mind. If there's ever questions on policy changes, usually they're pretty good about pushing out new information on stuff that it pertains to that very, very quickly on that. And so anything changes from national, they do that fairly quickly. So thank you for what you do and keeping your scouts safe in your units. So, all right, this is for our district and our unit leaders. This is just my friendly reminder, just to kind of get online. If you're outdated on YPT, make sure you get that set up. You're going to need it for recharter anyway. And that's recharter for all units this year in our district is at the end of December here. So we're coming up on that date fairly quickly. I believe 17 days maybe, I think is what we got. So keep that in mind. You can get in there and get your training going through my.scouting.org. And there's also the position specific training. And I will admit, I am not all the way through. I think I'm at the 60 or 75% level. So I got to finish some stuff on my own. So that's something I need to do myself. So I can't preach to the choir if I don't finish out. So take it upon yourselves, make sure you're up to date on that stuff. And you'll make your unit a better unit as well. So, and all your volunteer parents and everybody. So on to the next one here, the resource page. We've talked about this over the last couple of roundtables. I know we had our roundtable in November was a district or a council wide. And just by a voice, yes or no, did you attend? I'm going to say yes. So how about everybody else? Just say yes.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, good, good. Good. Sounds like we had some representation there. So that's great. They did a nice job. They took care of the roundtable for us, and a lot of information was put out, and that is also something that's available on the Three Harbors website as well. So you can backtrack and look at that and get your information on there. So explore it, get it, and there's a lot of stuff you can pull down from that. And then as long as our, I think Nathan, I think you're up to what, September, October with our videos for our recorded roundtables. Do you got October's in there now?
Yeah, everything that we've had has been posted. I've been trying to get it
Okay.
done in about 3 to 5 days.
Yeah, so the same thing happens with tonight's meeting. Should be done within a week up there, and then a follow-up email goes out. So Do it that way. All right. For anybody that's looking to help us out at the district level, you're more than welcome. And I want to call somebody out tonight. The highlighted one on the bottom, Mr. Scott Felber from T612. He is going to be helping us out as the Roundtable Commissioner. And basically what that is in the past jobs, that's like Mr. Jambor does for the Cubs at that level. Scott's going to kind of do it at the troop level so they can work together and coordinate our roundtables like this meeting right here. I'm taking care of this one. Ryan, myself, Nathan, we're doing this one this month, but we'll work Scott and, Mr. Jambor in there slowly, but we'll get them back into shape. And our January meeting is going to be kind of run by them with the topics, obviously, that we need to stay on course with. So a big welcome to Scott. Scott, you got anything to say back there? I saw you pop up before. One of the things Scott brings to the table.
No, I'm not gonna. I got nothing to say today.
He's got nothing. Okay. He brings a lot of experience to the table, and he also brings technical experience to the table, where expertise to the table as far as PowerPoints and how to run things more efficiently, look better. So you might see some changes in the way that things look, and just a little bit of ramping it up a little bit to the next level, and we'll make it as best as we can. So yeah, thank you, Scott, with that and accepting that. You can see with the red labels there, we've got a few more chairs that are still open. I'm looking at my second screen, so that's why I'm looking off here. So if that interests anybody, it's really not going to put you out too bad for any of these particular ones. Training chair, once it gets set up, you're doing a lot of getting information out and getting trainings ready for the people that need them. But right now it's all virtual. So Scout camping chair is Victor Bundia, but we want to assistant with him, and assistants always help out. So, and they're vital important. We can't do this district stuff without having a bunch of assistants doing the help with us too. So thanks to you guys. All right, our recharter update. Ryan?
Yeah, so I just got an update today from Cortland, and if my math is right, the vast majority of our units are in some process of rechartering. 23 of them have turned in their charter pack, and as Nathan noted in the chat, with many of the office folks working from home, it may take them a bit to get to those. So notice I say they've turned it in. I didn't say rechartering is complete, because those of you who've done this before, but especially for those of you not done it in the past, you turn your stuff in and then they run your recharter pack. And sometimes there are deficiencies. One that might come up is somebody hasn't signed off on the background check or something like that. And so we'll get that. Keep running on those. Thank you very much to those of you who have completed and turned in your packets. We still have 10 or 11 units that haven't, at least from what we can see in online, haven't even begun the process. So unit commissioners are contacting those units and have been contacting those units. So if you do get an email from myself or one of the unit commissioners, that's what we're trying to work on, is making sure that we get your chartering packets in. Then we'll move to clearing up any defective units. And so if you need help, there's my email. I'm happy to, we had a couple of, we were unable due to COVID to commandeer MATC's computer lab this year as we have in the past. Right. So we tried doing some Zoom meetings where we had sort of drop in Zoom assistance, and we can share screens and we can figure it out that way. So we're trying to be creative here. But if you have any questions about that, either throw it up in the chat as we move on, or shoot me an email and we'll get it sorted. So thank you very much to those units who are already have submitted their packets.
Good news. Yeah, good news. I saw that number, was it last week? I think there was 15, so now there's 23, so that's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. Somebody had a question in chat, and I noticed that Nathan answered that question about possible technical glitches and stuff on their recharter, and when will they know? So thanks for answering that, Nathan.
I got a question for Ryan
Yes,
or
sir.
Nathan. Because it says we got to take it down to the scout office. What days is the scout office going to be closed around the holidays? Because the next week with Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and the next week with New Year's Eve. What day will there be people there, Ryan? We can drop it off.
I don't actually know. Nathan, do you know?
Or Nathan. I meant it for Nathan, Ryan, because
Yeah.
he works there.
Yeah.
No, he's not in, but
It's closed 24th, 25th,
Mm.
Okay.
and the 1st. So
So they're open New Year's Eve then? Okay.
open
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, all right.
as far as I believe so, that's not a holiday.
I don't want to wait till the last day to pay though, but
Right.
just trying to schedule stuff around so we can get somebody down there.
Now, But-
Nathan, can you confirm that if you bring in your packet on December 31st, there is a champagne toast as long as you're not in
that is not true.
Yeah.
But just so you guys are aware, my signature is required on the charters to get them processed.
Mhm.
And like many of you guys, I take vacation around the holidays. My wife's a teacher, so it's kind of one of the times that we can both kind of kick our feet up and relax. So the office may be open, but I may not be in there to sign it. I'm taking about 3 days of vacation in there as well.
No, good information. Thanks for the full disclosure. I think there's a lot of vacation going on that many of us here probably will be doing ourselves. So yeah. All right. So yeah, any other questions on rechartering? Anybody? There was no more chat questions. I wanted to look to make sure we don't have any of those. Doesn't look like it. So okay, yeah. Good. All right. Well, thanks. And if again you need help, reach out like Ryan said, and we'll do what we can for you. So thanks for what you're doing on that and getting it rolling. All right, let me get over to this screen and here we go. Matt Murdaugh, are you on this?
Yes.
Okay, I put your information up there. You got about, I'm gonna give you a minute or two, okay?
Okay. So our new chapter chief, if you don't know who he is Kyle Weiss. He's been active for a few years. And then coming up, we've got OA elections. We'll be starting to get stuff out to you sometime the middle of next month, hopefully, for your unit elections for next year. With the way COVID is going, unless we're back to in person, we have an online version we've set up. We ran it for a couple of units in the spring last year. So I think we got the glitches worked out. Usually it's done over Zoom, but if you have a different program you run, we could do it through that. And then we do a Google Doc, a Google form, I think is what it is. And we have you fill that out and it's open during a certain amount of time. Then we close it and then we run the election that way. I also have coming up a schedule preliminarily, at least through the spring. We've got our winter banquet on the 17th of January. That's going to be virtual in some form. We're still working out the virtual part of it because it was going to be in person originally. And then we have on the weekend of April 30th through the 2nd is going to be Ordeal and Brotherhood and service overnight down at O Dakota. And then our spring fellowship, where we also will have the option to do Ordeal and Brotherhood again, will be the following week on the 7th through the 9th at Indian Mound. We also this year are starting something new, a fellowship kind of night or time during the Scouting the Zoo. The OA is going to have a picnic, so any OA members are welcome to come to that if you're in the area. We're going to have a separate area at the zoo for us, assuming Scouting the Zoo happens. And that they don't have any restrictions where they only allow us there for like 4 or 5 hours, at a time. And then again, we're meeting on Wednesdays, the third Wednesday of every month at 6:30. We have our meeting this Wednesday. If you haven't seen the email, it's been turned in. It has to be sent out through the system, and that should come out sometime this evening. So, and we'll be watching some sort of movie together. We're not sure which one yet.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much, and good luck to Kyle Weiss and his endeavor with the OA chapter. So good job. Next, important, Mike Pierce, our vice chair. He helps me with a couple of things, a lot of ideas, bouncing ideas off to each other. And he's going to talk about FOS for us right now. I'm going to bring up the chart. And if you see our red line there in the Southern Shores District, Michael will explain a little bit of that, and we'll probably go back and forth. Michael, are you there, buddy? Mike Pierce.
Yeah, John, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I had a
there you
little
go.
trouble
There
there
you
with
go.
the
Thank you.
mute button. Yeah, so Southern Shores has done real well. We're at the 91%, and we have met our community goal, actually exceeded by a few percentage points.
Mhm.
And then our family is at 75%. Now, this is a consolidation of two districts, and we were a little uncertain of our total, but we're pretty pleased with how far we've gotten so far. So
What you
if
can
have
see
any
there is
questions
compared
or
to the
any
other districts.
opportunities. I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
I just, for the scouters, the unit leaders that don't normally see this, you can compare all the other districts and kind of see where we're at. And these are the reports that we get as members of the FOS team. And so this is for your benefit to see this as well too.
Hmm.
Here you go, Mike.
Anything else? Ryan,
Nope.
did you have, is there any,
No, I would just add that, you know, this, I'm pleased that we got as far as we did, to be honest with you. Given the constraints, I mean, as someone who was doing virtual FOS presentations, they
Mhm.
were a challenge, but we got very close to our goal, and we look forward to turning the page to next year's FOS campaign and hitting our goal next year.
Ryan, I appreciate that. And it has been a mountain of effort here, given this current situation.
Mhm.
So I'm willing to make another contribution of $500 in the hope that we could get to that 100%.
Oh,
And if you know anybody that is with some thoughts of contributing, please ask them as we go into this final stretch here.
wow. Thank you, Michael, for your generosity. That's for sure. Just looking at the numbers there, we're about $4,100 short of our goal. I think it is what I figured out the other day. That'll put us in the threes now. Wow. Wow. Well, I can't let that go myself. I'm going to put in a one scout myself. So I want to get this ball rolling on this. If we can get a little closer to that goal, that'd be great. If anybody that's out there that hasn't already pledged through their unit this year, if you want to consider making a pledge tonight or in the very future, near future, before the end of the year, we would love to see that. So, you know, we're not going to guilt you in anything, but we want to see that number go up, and we'd love to see it go up tonight. So, wow. Thank you for your generosity, Mike. Thank you so much.
Always my pleasure.
Yes.
John, I'll pledge a scout too.
Oh, ouch. All right. Well, we are now, I'm just doing a quick tally here. We're at about $860, a little bit closer to our goal. So please, if you can help us get closer to that goal, that would be great.
John, I did see one question.
Yes, sir.
Is how's this compared to last year? Last year, there was two districts that were individually
Mhm.
ran. And cumulatively, we are doing a little better this year
Mhm.
on the percentages. Now, I want you to understand that South Shore had a very low dollar amount, and we typically got to 100%, whereas Root River, larger organization, got to about 75%. So as a combined team, we are making significant progress. So thanks. Great.
Yeah, and
question.
I think we're stronger too. I mean, I will say this, that our committee is pretty strong, given the fact that we came together and we've recruited some people over the last 2 years, basically, and even some new people in the last few weeks here. So thank you to everyone that's on our committee, and thanks for just helping out with making our youth the best that they can be in our scouting program. So thank you so much. Hey, if anybody wants to donate something before the end of the meeting, let me know and I'll put it on my running total here. And we'll get cards out to make sure that you guys are covered with that. And we can have Nathan. Nathan, will we be able to get that in under the wire at the end of the year or not?
Yeah, we'll certainly be able to get that in before the end of the year.
Okay, all right.
I can
John, I don't
actually
know
send
if
out virtual pledge cards.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw in the chat. Nathan made a pledge, as did Don Bauer from Troop 532, is going to pledge a scout as well in the
Okay,
chat.
all right, thank you. I did not look at the chat there. All right, well, folks, that gets us $1,040 closer. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's touching, very touching. So that's what our program's all about. And during this holiday season, kind of feels good to give a scout. Kind of weird to say, but kind of feels good. So that's it. If anybody has any more wrap up on that, we're going to move along to the next slide. And I believe we have Mr. Randy Carr. Yes. Randy is from Troop 108, a longtime scouter. Many of you know him. He has been at the in-person meetings, and he has been involved with the Weeblos to Scout transition quite a bit over the years. And he's actually got a PowerPoint presentation that he's going to go over with us. And again, we have to get those Weeblos to the next level and then keep them. And Randy's going to talk a little bit about that. We're staying together as a group today because this is going to benefit all of us. So Randy's going to be talking for about 20 minutes or so, and listen in, and there will be, if you have a question, pop it into the chat. So Randy, take it away, please.
Yeah, hi. For everybody, some of you know who I am. I was the Roundtable commissioner for the old Legacy District for a long, long time. And this is a presentation I did 6 or 7 years ago, and all I really did was update it just a hair. I went out looking for more resource type stuff. To start with, I want everybody to just think for a moment about how many scouts, the troop leaders, how many scouts you currently have. And if you would have an ideal recruitment this year, how many would you like to get? 3, 6, 24? I mean, it's important that you kind of have some idea as to what you'd like to see, because that may drive your overall plan. And then, of course, I want you to think for a moment about how many scouts stay for more than 1 year and how many scouts stay for more than 2 years. I've crossed over a lot of Weeblos, but I can't necessarily say that every Weeblo stayed as long as I would have hoped. What we hope to get out of tonight's presentation is a little bit of an understanding of the factors involved in the Weeblos to Scout transition process. When I get to the end, you'll see a little bit about this. I'm trying to be brief. Identify who the key responsibilities from the troop and the pack are, and to try to help you develop an action plan for a successful Weeblos to Boy Scout transition. Next slide. There's a bunch of resources out there, same kind of resources you see on a lot of topics. I would like to point out that there is a part of the national website is dedicated to Weeblos transition. It can take you a while to roll around through it, but it's probably one of the best resources that you can get to that's kind of condensed. In our community, the knowledge about the chartered organizations in your area and stuff like that. At last count, I kind of see 25 packs, 23 troop, and 1 girls troop. So we'll go to the next slide. And we'll very quickly here talk a little bit about how you find out who those are. Who are the important people? This is probably key. The Weeblos Den leader is obviously a very important position. The Cub Master is also on the pack side a very important position, although more is the glue and at the presentation of the arrow of lights and the crossover ceremonies. And then a key individual is either the Scoutmaster or an assistant that he has assigned specifically to work with the Weeblos as they're coming in. And then there are some people out there called unit commissioners. You know, if you don't know who to go to, that's a place to go. Now then, on the resource side, I didn't put it on the slide because, you know, I'm kind of old school, but one of the things you could do if you're a troop leader is go to the address for your chartered organization, put it into beascout.org and do a search, and the 3 closest packs will come up. And that's your hit list. Same with the packs. Put in your address, do a search, 3 troops will come up. Actually, the whole council will come up if you let it. But you're probably just looking for the 2 or 3 that are closest so that you can keep scouting in the neighborhood. That way you can skip the unit commissioner, although I would be glad to do it for you. Next slide. So in the Weeblos to Scout transition, you know, the key individual may be the Weeblos leader, because he's the Weeblos leader is the guy that actually is working with the Weeblos and helping plan their program and doing their program and coordinating their program. But he's not necessarily the most trained individual in the loop. The unit leaders, the Scoutmasters and the Cub Masters, sometimes have been around for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Troop leaders, 10 years is not uncommon. So the unit leaders are very key to making the program work and to getting your scouts to cross over. You're going to have to develop relationships with all these people, whether you're on the troop side or you're on the pack side. You have to start those relationships because, quite frankly, to do a really, really good job, you may have to reach out to these units more than once. Make a couple troop visits, make a outing with the troop. Okay, and since we don't have roundtables where you can get together and touch bases with Steve from Troop 108, who's the Scoutmaster, you really have to go out of your way in these times to find out who the right person is and to stay in touch with him. Next slide. Commissioners can help with your contacts. They can also sit down if you're a troop and help you with your recruiting plan. You know, there's that old saying about fail to plan and plan to fail, or however that goes. I never can remember. But, having a plan of who's going to go do what and when you're going to expect various units or packs or dens to show up at your meetings. And, we got people problems. It would be very hard in some communities to have 6 or 8 scouts get together, a patrol maybe, and then have 6 or 8 Weeblos show up. that would be like way too many. But there are ways to have meetings, particularly in the outdoors, where you can gather the groups together. Commissioners, you can be supporting the outdoor programs that we have, Klondike, Camporees, the Zoo Show, all those kind of things. If you look at the number of units that participate sometimes in these things, there's a whole bunch of people that didn't go. And so that's one of the ways that commissioners in particular can kind of help the units. Next slide. 2 key things. I can't tell you a million things to do for all these things. Keep an open mind, and troops, you need to invite the Weeblos Dens to your outings. Make sure that they know that next month you guys are going to camp down at Bong Rec area, or you're going to go out to IMR for a cabin lock-in, or maybe you're going to lock in at your church. You need to get an invitation to the Weeblos leaders that this is going on, and also keep, that would be the second year Weeblos, the first year Weeblos involved. I know it's difficult, and sometimes your boys might have some issues with, oh, we got to invite the Weeblos again. You got to like try to balance, well, we need to invite them out. So which ones do you want to invite them out to? Because most units are going every month. If there's a Camporee or or the Klondike, even the Zoo Show, if the troop is participating in the Zoo Show, inviting the Weeblos ones to come and spend the day can be a pretty popular thing to do. Your Weeblos Dens are not going to necessarily have mess gear, tents, dining flies, cooking equipment, and stuff like that. So, if you're inviting them on a camp out, that saves them having to scrounge like all that stuff together. They'll see your troop in a patrol setting. So just by doing that, Weeblos leaders, you can look for the troops to support you with that stuff, but it's important that you build this whole thing into your plan and their plan. And when if you go on a camp out, or you go spend the day with a troop, and maybe they're going to do a 10-mile hike in the afternoon, you don't have to go on the 10-mile hike. Plan a little bit of your own program to meet your own needs and your support. So the troops will support you when they can, but then let them also go do their stuff. And it's evening time and meal time, where maybe a more experienced scout can show an older scout from the troop can help show a first year Weeblo group how do I wash my dishes, how do I start a fire, how do I do all the things that that are already needed as part of the program, but not necessarily just because the Weeblos are there. It's stuff that they're regularly doing all the time. And finally, specifically, you need to train your youth leaders to be always prepared for Weeblos to show up. If Weeblos just show up next Thursday at a troop meeting, or next Tuesday at a troop meeting, are your troop leadership, are they trained to be able to handle, oh, here's 6 or 7 young guys, what are we going to do with them? And their parents, scoutmaster or assistant scoutmaster, you need to be prepared to step in and talk to the adults in the group that shows up. So, I find that, everybody needs some training in that area. Next slide. This is a hard one. I'm going to do the second one first. It's a good practice. This comes up over and over and over again, to have a troop dedicated adult to work with the Weeblos group. Scoutmasters can be pretty busy kind of monitoring what the troop is doing Scoutmaster conferences, and doing all the other things that a Scoutmaster might do at any given meeting. And if you have an assistant Scoutmaster or a committee member maybe that just crossed over the year before, who can be that dedicated contact for the troop to talk to and kind of keep an eye on the Weeblos, it can be a very helpful person. Den chiefs. I was a Scoutmaster. I had you adult leaders, and for years I never ever could find a kid that wanted to be a den chief, that needed to be a den chief. Part of it was a timing issue, but I'm telling you, first of all, if there's an older brother that's in the troop and has a younger brother in a pack, he should take the den chief training and go help. I mean, it's just like, this is too obvious not to do. And the training isn't too bad. It's just a couple hours, and most of it can be done online. If you have any other scouts that are looking for leadership, the den chief is a leadership position, and it's not that hard. I mean, they go to the meetings, they work with the Weeblos leader or the bear leader or whatever youth they might get assigned to, and that leader is going to pretty much create the program, and all the den chief has to do is come up and do his part. I'd like to be able to ask how many units have den chiefs. I know that some of the packs are looking for den chiefs, but it would be hard for me to see that feedback with this group. Den chiefs and the information about them could be a separate Boy Scout topic all by itself. It'd easily take half hour, 45 minutes.
Excuse me, Randy.
Yeah.
Just a real quick poll here by voice. Is your troop or your pack using den chiefs? Just say yes, yes.
Yes.
Buddy?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, there you go,
So
Randy.
we have some. Very important. This may be one of the 2 or 3 most important things that you have to do to maximize the success. Is to utilize a den chief. Next slide. One of the number 5 rank requirement for Weeblos to get the Arrow of Light is the same requirements with a little tweaking to get the rank of Scout. So I would suggest a Scoutmaster conference for the group to review the requirements in that rank requirement for Weeblos. And then if they go to a couple of meetings and they get that same thing over and over, and they hear kind of the same stuff from their Scoutmaster, and you could do it where it's interfaced. I wouldn't teach to them. I would ask them what they know about the meaning of the Scout motto. You would get some feedback and some sharing going on. I think that is probably should be 10 or 15 minutes of any time Weeblos visit, or if you're having a specific invite, which you can do that, invite a bunch of Weeblos in. Scoutmaster should be able to take 10 or 15 minutes and have that conversation. It could be your Weeblos Scout leader designee. It doesn't have to be the Scoutmaster, but it probably makes sense to have the Weeblos leader designee go talk to the adults or go do something else and actually have the scoutmaster hold that conference just to get a name and a face and, you know, who the adult boss is, so to speak. If you can get scouts to do it, go for it. You know, teaching, discussing that stuff, even for scouts can be, some scouts can be difficult. At the local level, the key to success to Weeblo's scout transition is that we're keeping as many scouts as possible to cross over. And I know there's a lot of you that will resist the idea that, you know, you want to have a feeder pack and you don't have to work that hard to get new scouts. But in reality, keeping the scouts is as important as crossing them over. And National would tell you they want scouts to succeed. And that may or may not be that this scout goes to this troop and this scout goes to that troop. You know, it may be that one scout goes to this troop over here, and one scout goes to that troop over there. You know, our troop meetings years ago were on Tuesday. And imagine my amazement when all of a sudden Catholic catechism classes were on Tuesday night. You know, half of my kids disappeared for 6 months. Fortunately, they all came back, but you know, the night of the week can make a difference. And, you know, parents and the scouts need to know that, you know, look at this troop and where you think you're going to have fun and like what's going on. That the chance that everybody succeeds goes way up. Next slide. The actual crossover ceremony, you know, this should be a very meaningful thing. You know, the scouts, the Weebles are getting their Arrow Light Award possibly, although not necessarily on that night, but, you know, there should be a little bit of pageantry. So the pack leader, the cub master, the scout master, 2 or 3 of your youth should be there for the crossover. I'm not going to say that everybody has to do all of this, but, you know, things like providing distinctive troop numbers or a neckerchief or your epaulets or a scout book can be a good way to kind of welcome the new scout and save 6 or 8 parents from all chasing downtown to try to buy the 1 or 2 things and getting the right things for their uniform. And what's the most important thing to give them? It's so easy. It's give them a calendar for the coming year. Next slide. Another idea that comes up often, good practice. On that crossover night, assign a scout to mentor or sponsor the new scout to his first meeting or 2. Troop leaders do the same thing with the adults. A lot of times I would cross over the adults. So, you know, have somebody assigned if you don't have, you know, a couple extra people to kind of introduce them at the upcoming meetings. It's very important that you get engaged with all the new parents and all the new scouts right up front. That very next meeting that they're at, you need to be feeding them regular information and stuff like that. So what might you feed them? Next slide.
Hey, Randy.
Yeah.
I just want to say, from doing FOS presentations at different packs and over the years, I've seen a number of crossovers and everyone's pretty unique, whether they're reading something that's, you know, talking about the red, white, and blue, crossing over a really nice bridge like 218 has. I mean, I've seen some really neat things over the years. And as a parent coming across as a new Weebo, I think that's a pretty big thing when they see that the older scouts are there welcoming them. The parents I've seen cross the bridge, like you said, as well. So, you know, what I've seen out there, you guys, John Groff, 218, say Matt's over there. I've seen some really cool things. So keep that stuff up and be creative. Thank you.
Yeah. So, providing to the parents a calendar, again, at the first meeting that you can get them with is key. And not just our meetings are on Thursdays and we're going camping next month somewhere. You know, your troops should be planning an annual program. Give a copy of the troops calendar to the new scouts. Now then, there's a national, just like they have for Cub Scouts, a new scout parent orientation resource. There's like a little booklet that you can print out and customize. What do parents want to know? They want to know about advancement. They want to know about fundraising. They want to know about uniform. The list goes on. There's like 15, 20 things. You can't possibly give them all that. It would take an hour and everybody would be go crazy. Maybe like you're going crazy already because I've been talking for 20 minutes. Encourage the den leaders to plan on moving into the troop. You might have them go to Scoutmaster training the year before they cross over into the troop. So there are some troops, which we really had a package of information. We had a parent orientation form. We had med forms with instructions. We had, you know, a whole mess of stuff that they got at the first meeting. We reviewed it briefly and said, you know, we're going to have an orientation meeting. Next slide. At the next, I thought I had that separate, but you know, at the next meeting, we're going to have an orientation meeting just to get the parents engaged. Okay. Go to that last slide.
Tell me which corrector. This
The
one.
one
Here?
that you can't read.
Oh.
There's a point to this. Here's a list of 51 recommended items that you should do to get ready to cross over Weeblos. You will go stir crazy trying to do all these things. It's develop a plan, cover the main things that are important to parents and stuff like that and the kids. Keep it simple, make it fun, particularly for the scouts, and you know, insert your troops personality into it. And you probably don't need these 51 items. You also don't need to read the 74-page book that is put out there on Weeblos to Scout transition by a council in California. And there's a 46-page book put out by a council that Nathan is very familiar with. The Kansas City area has like a humongous book on action items and when to do this and all this pre-planning and stuff like that. You know, if you do more this year than you did last year, and you end up with maybe one more kid, you know, you've been that much more successful. I've tried to highlight just a few things that over the years I found to be very successful in crossing over kids and just doing half of them. Sometimes I got kids from places I didn't even hear of, you know, they weren't even on my radar. So now we'll go to the next slide. If you want that page, I can get it to you. In summary, PACs, seek out den chiefs. Have a parent responsible for communications from the troop. Host a recruitment night, very key thing. But you should always be recruiting and you should be expecting Weebos to just show up, sometimes without notice. You need to keep going on. Next slide, questions and answers, I think.
Yes, sir. And I have some chat. I have a chat question here from, let me get to it here quick.
My computer battery just
Yeah.
died.
Jennifer Charpentier, she says, how are folks adapting to physical distancing requirements with planning the transition from OA/WEBOs to Boy Scouts? Well, I'm pretty sure the transition hasn't happened yet. And since we are all required to do, virtual meetings, I'm guessing that we're going to be probably coming up with some type of, or the unit leaders, troops will be coming up with some type of crossover virtually. Has any trooper pack started to address that at all yet in answering Jennifer's questions? Or question, I should say. Nathan, have you heard anything? Oh, go ahead. Who's that? Go ahead.
It was Randy.
Oh.
I have seen where people are doing some virtual type stuff.
And yeah, that's, I think from our directive, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So I was just curious if any, I know it's a couple months early here. Crossovers usually start in late February, March, April, right around there. And so yeah, if there are some good ideas. Jennifer, you are what, Troop 598. If we hear anything, I guess we'll get in touch with you. This is what I can say on there. Randy, especially if you hear something, and then units, we'll be adapting to this. There was some crossovers that were canceled last spring, I'm sure. That kind of just happened, maybe. There were probably some that got in under the wire before things shut down. But yeah, it's a bridge we're going to have to cross here, another bridge. So a virtual bridge. So Nathan, have you heard anything or seen anything out there?
For crossovers, most of the ones that I saw were early in the year. I know we've had some scouts crossing over in the fall, but I don't know that there was any ceremony.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. So yeah, Jennifer, if you're listening there, that's our answer. We'll try to help you out. And yeah, and like Jennifer says, it's still hard to know what things are going to look like in 3 months. So
suppose a drive-through could be kind of neat.
Right. And I mean, that has been set up in a number of different, whether it's schooling, whether it's college, whether it's, clubs. I've seen a number of birthdays, all that different stuff. So
yeah,
or it can be.
Maybe consider like a drive-in type theater situation where maybe the Cub Master or the ceremony is done by a megaphone and everyone's sitting in their cars, and the awards can be distributed out to the cars like concessions.
Yeah. Maybe we can set up a stage like a certain presidential candidate did and have them all in their cars, like you said. Yeah, pretty interesting.
We have a lawn care business that would sponsor that.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I'm glad you got some good comments from that too, Jennifer. And if we come up with anything that's from council or any other practices that I hear about, we'll try to make sure you get that information.
Can we hold out hope that the council will actually allow in-person activities indoors in 2021 in the beginning of the year? Sorry, John, this is Chuck Rund.
Yeah, no, I see you, Chuck. I see you talking.
Thanks.
Yep. Well, I think our practices are still the same from what I've seen. I haven't seen any new directives come out right now. It's virtual. With all the changes that are going on with now a vaccine going out there to higher level, care workers and stuff like that, all the way down, when does it get to the people? Not quite sure. Nathan, if you had any other feedback on that?
There's a COVID task force that kind of makes those decisions. So the staff doesn't make that call.
In fact, Chuck, when Jeff Pucell was on earlier, he jumped over to the COVID task force meeting at 7. So we may hear some more about that in the future, So good question.
Good. Though. I mean, yeah, mostly for troops anyways. I see that, there's a easier ability to meet outdoors. We have scouts who are hardy. They understand what it is for cold weather prep. Younger you get with scouting, the more difficult it is to meet outdoors. They get colder quicker. They complain a lot more. And and so, you know, late February, early March crossovers could be possible outdoors. It is possible with distancing, etc. But last March, it was just too new to even have any kind of decision. So yeah, some of those crossovers were canceled.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, we'll have to just wait for some possible, better news coming up here. And like, I don't think anybody knows what's around the next corner, but we hope it's a corner turn in the better, for the better. So,
John, I've got a question.
yes, Myron.
This is directed probably to Nathan. Now that the charters are coming in December and hopefully it'll all be done by, say, the middle of January, would it be possible to accumulate a list of the 5th grade Weeblo AOL scouts to distribute to the scoutmasters so that they can contact them directly to join troops?
Yeah, so Carla should have the ability to run that report, and I can send that out once I get it.
I think this year especially, that's about the only way you're really going to recruit. It's hard to get around. The packs aren't meeting as packs. If they're even meeting as dens, a lot of them are virtual anyway. So it's hard to get in to make the contacts to the people. So I was thinking that, if we can get a list, then at least the scoutmasters could pick boys that maybe live in their neighborhood and send them out a letter inviting them to a virtual meeting and set up, because with the requirement I know from Weeblos and AOL, you have to attend so many troop meetings. Would a virtual meeting count for that?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just trying to make it possible for the 5th graders to get their arrow of light and also know what troops are in the neighborhood that they could join. The other option would be if they could make a list of the troops, and I don't know how many 5th grade Weeblos we're going to have, but maybe send them a list of the troops and the troop leaders in that particular area that they could contact. So the Weeblos would get it from the district as far as what troops we have in your neighborhood, and the troops would get a list of the boys that they could contact from their neighborhood. You know what I mean? Kind of a back and forth contact.
No, totally agree. Randy, were you going to say something?
I was going to basically the same thing, that virtual meetings are counting for everything else. So I don't see why they wouldn't count.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that everything is up in the air with this whole Corona thing for this year, at least until at least summer or fall. Hopefully by then the vaccines will be enough distributed that we can start getting back to normal. But if I think that the biggest problem that I've seen with transition in the past is that the information about the scouts is not getting to the scoutmasters, and about the troops is not getting to the Weeblo dens. And if we can, that's one of the things that I had asked Nathan to send out, and I know the meetings are all discombobulated right now, but to make a list, to get the troops to list what nights they have their meetings and what times, so that, like Randy said earlier, if Tuesday night, which is your troop meeting, the boys have their religious classes, they can find a troop fairly near to their house that meet on a Wednesday and continue in scouts.
Yeah, no, great idea. Like you said, it looks like they can probably get that published for that. So great to know. And I know we all of our units, we all kind of know who we pull from, but it'd be nice to know what kind of numbers are out there. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, give us an idea where to start,
Right. Exactly. From here, I'm going to throw it back to Mike to do a little wrap up. And then we'll come back to this slide and we'll go from there.
Hey, John, thanks a lot. I just want to enlighten folks on how we got the family number. And that was based on $25 per each scout, which we have 1,680. That number was determined at January 1st of this year, 2020. So that's how we established that. Now, I also want to share with everybody, I just got a call from Nathan's wife saying that if we reached the goal, Nathan would shave his beard. Rumor has it that he had that beard at birth. So this could be a first. I'm still trying to figure out whether I'm excited about that or not. But it's awesome. And I have just talked to my mom, and she is going to support a scout. So at the end of our last conversation, we had $1,540. So we can add another scout on that, and I'll get her permission for that donation at a later time. So
Wow.
if you have a family member who would consider donating $25 to participate in that goal, do it now and ask for permission later. And so
Great.
thank you very
Wow.
much. I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mike.
goal, Mike. I will shave my beard and I will even send pictures out and put it on the district Facebook page.
That
Don't worry, Nathan. If you shave your beard, I'll keep it for you.
Oh, man. That's great. Wow, that would be some, what was it, Nathan? 8 years? How long has it been?
The last time I shaved was July 20th of 2013. It's for my best friend's wedding. I wasn't even shaved for my own.
Wow, that's amazing. So we got a shot to look at, and we got a shot to get rid of that beard, but he'll grow another one. You know that it's about 3-day beard right there, probably. So
Maybe 4.
yeah. Yeah, when you look at these Zoom meetings, it's really interesting. I can't really grow a super full beard like what I see here, and it's just impressive. So, well, I tell you what, it's getting pretty close to 7:45 here. Michael, thank you for your wrap up. Everyone, I want to just tell you, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holiday, Happy New Year, however you celebrate, and thanks for all you do for the scouting program, number one, and what you do for your units. We couldn't do it without you, with our district leaders. Thank you so much to our new leaders this year. Thanks for coming on board. To our prospective leaders that are out there, that kind of just maybe are thinking about it but need a little nudge, we'd love to have you up there, helping us out here, because we're a little biased in our district, Southern Shores, I'm sure, but Nathan sees a little more, and his general thought is we're a very strong committee throughout the different districts in Three Harbors Council. So I take that as a little bit of a pride thing, and let's keep it going that way. Let's keep this district rolling. So thank you for your help. As you can see, January 11th, 2021. So we got it right on this one. Same time frame. Everybody, it'll be another, start of it. Yeah, new decade coming up. They consider 2020 the decade, or 2021, probably 2020. So same thing back here. And right now our topics are winter events. And we'll probably have some additionals on that because we're going to have a breakout most likely. Nancy, do you have anything to add besides what Jeff added? Otherwise,
No,
Heather,
I'm good.
yeah.
Thanks.
Advancements there was not a whole lot to add there at all. And Heather passed along her best. She is in the middle of wrapping up, 300 presents or something like that,
Yeah.
that she shops and does.
I don't know if people know this. Heather was just announced as the training chair for the council. So
Oh.
she will be reaching out to people to do some training, especially focused on the Cub Scout side with then leader training and stuff like that.
Got it. Okay. Wow. I knew that was kind of out there, but that's the first I've heard it. It's confirmed. Yeah. So thanks to her for that. She does a great job. So does anybody have anything for the betterment of the group as far as scouting goes? Anybody, any of the leaders? I see we had about 38 people at one time. So thank you again for taking the time out of your Monday here and attending this meeting. And for those of you who pledged towards the goal, thank you so much for that. And we still got, about 17 days for this goal to be met. So if it's at all possible and you feel like you would like to give or have somebody that would like to give in your family, that'd be great. So thank you so much. Nathan, if you do not have any other announcements, I think we can close this meeting.
No, thank you all. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Appreciate all you guys do to support.
Oh, here I got some comments that I'll read offline for some of the documents we looked at. But yes, John Dornuff, I can get you that copy. So yes, not a problem. Another one was merit badge classes. That's a good thing. Real quickly before we go, I have another graphic arts merit badge in January here. I think it's January 9th. So keep that in mind and keep your scouts engaged. If they would like to do the merit badge for graphic arts, it's on January 9th at 9 a.m. in the morning. And I'll be teaching that virtually. And it's quite interesting. And I love hearing it when the parents say they learn. All right, that's it. Appreciate everything, guys. Take care, ladies. And we'll see you on the flip side of the new year.